Dollar. Dirt and money, no soul. Had to go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack and flip for my foes. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar. Let me watch out for my partners. Keep my money long, get my team strong. Let me run away from my problems.
Yo, what's good, original crew, man? We're back. Hey, man, we're back with another body cam today. It just said the most twisted case you've ever heard. They've said that several times before. We don't know. Ain't that right, C?
That's right. Oh, gosh, y'all.
The most twisted. There's always
see.
some twisted cases, right?
It's always something.
Oh, excuse me. Hey, make sure y'all check out the links in the description box.
Down below.
You already know where to go. If you want to first support, all you got to do is check out down below. Also, if you enjoyed today's video,
liking it with a thumbs up.
And let's get it. Let's check this out. Let's see what's about, y'all.
On one cold and rainy night, 19-year-old Renisha McBride crashed her car on a Michigan street before hazily pulling herself from the wreck to look for help. Renisha was dealing with a concussion and a severe injury to her hand, but that wasn't all, and more would be uncovered about her mental state later. Despite this, Renisha made her way towards a nearby house and began banging on their door. Unfortunately, when the owner of the house finally opened the door, Renisha found herself facing the end of a shotgun and the end of her life. On November 2nd, 2013, the Dearborn Heights Police Department received a 911 call just after 4:30 a.m. from a man named Theodore Wafer.
I just shot somebody on my front porch with a shotgun, banging on my door.
After ensuring that Theodore wasn't a threat, the police questioned him on the night's events.
What happened here?
A consistent knocking on the door, and I'm trying to look through the windows, but every time I look through the windows of the door, it's banging somewhere else, so I open up the door, kind of like, who is this?
Banging somewhere else?
I think I'm discharged.
Hold on, he said they were banging on the door, and then he said every time he was trying to look, he'll hear his consistent knocking somewhere else? Is that what he said?
That's what he said.
Door, I'm trying to look through the windows, but every time I look through the windows of the door, it's banging somewhere else, so I open up the door, kind of like, who is this? I think I'm discharged. I didn't know there was a round in there.
What?
I don't get it. Who's knocking on your door at 4:30 in the morning? Bang, bang, bang. Somebody wanting in.
While Theodore may have claimed the whole incident was just a terrible accident, certain aspects of his story just weren't adding up, and detectives were determined to discover if they may actually be dealing with a cold-blooded killer.
Homeowner says there was somebody pounding on the door. He opened the door, like to say who the heck's out here, and his gun discharged and
all to the chest.
Shot this black female in the head.
Oh, in the head.
She's rescue isn't here yet, but I'm pretty sure she's DOA.
According to the officers on the scene, the gunshot wound so severely damaged Renisha's head above her jaw that she was pronounced dead on arrival.
Yeah.
Theodore, still in a state of shock, was placed into a police cruiser while the scene was secured and documented.
Not really, I mean, what's that, sir? I said that, I don't know,
Sit tight a minute. See what we can figure out here.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
When Theodore first woke up to Renisha banging on his door, he may have believed there was potentially a dangerous force trying to get into his home.
What time was it?
He said 4:30.
In the morning? In the morning?
Yes.
If he sleep. But how hard was she hit it? Was she just, you know what I'm saying? Was she boom, boom, boom? There's a difference. You get what I'm saying?
Body then may have gone into fight or flight and started to prepare for a potential threat by releasing adrenaline. This heightened state doesn't last for very long, and now that he's in the police cruiser, there's no possible threat against him anymore. With enough cursory information gathered, the police bring Theodore back to the station for questioning, and it isn't long before the cracks in his story begin to show.
Oh.
Well, why don't we just start out by, I know you've told officers at the scene, but I need you to tell me now. Just give me the scenario of what happened tonight in your own words.
Well,
I don't really know how these proceedings work. I mean, am I being charged? I mean,
No, sir.
should I have a lawyer present? Do I,
That would be entirely up to you.
I mean, this is a very serious matter. What just happened, I believe.
Well, it is a serious matter. The young woman that's laying in your porch. We have to do a thorough investigation, and we have to.
Am I allowed back into my home now? I mean,
when the officers are done with the scene processing and when the ME removes the body, yes.
See, this is
So.
Theodore is very nervous and can be heard asking if he needs a lawyer present. If he did want a lawyer, this is an ineffective attempt at invoking his Miranda rights, as the request for an attorney must be clear and unequivocal. The officer is also being somewhat manipulative here, as he suggests that talking to him is no different than talking to the officers on the scene. While that might make sense at first, this is not the case. The primary job of the first responders is to secure the scene and gather basic information. During the interrogation, however, the detective will be probing much deeper and gathering information about Theodore's possible guilt. Currently, Theodore appears to be looking at the officer as a neutral party who can offer him support and guidance. However, it's important to remember the detective's ultimate goal in an interrogation is to secure a confession.
True.
You made a statement to the guys at the scene.
I heard noises, and
The smartest thing for him to have done in this situation is lawyer it up, But some people in a lot of situations think they're smarter than the situation, and they like, I don't need a lawyer. I can be able to talk myself out of this situation. You know what I mean?
it startled me, what these noises were. These banging, prying noises. First on the side of the house, and then front of the house, back to the side of the house, then front of the house.
Given the time of day, he may have assumed the person had bad intentions, especially since Dearborn Heights is known for its high crime rate, with the average resident having a 1 in 55 chance of being a victim of a violent or property crime. To compare, the national average violent crime rate in 2021 in the United States hovered around 400 cases per 100,000 of the population.
I'm looking out the peephole, I can't see this person, I can't see that, what's going on inside. Every time I look out one door, the noise is coming to another one, or the other side of the house.
So, at this point, are you getting frightened? Is your heart racing? What's going on?
Yes, I have no idea what's happening. It was getting louder. I thought at any time something was coming through the door or the window. It was getting violent.
Where did you...
Persistent.
Okay.
Especially on the front door. Very persistent.
Theodore specifically states that he thought someone was going to come in through his door or window. This further displays his belief that there was an immediate threat to him that would justify Renisha's shooting. The defensive tone Theodore takes is also reflected in his body language. With his arms crossed in front of his chest, he's creating a barrier between himself and the detective. As the ramifications of his actions become more and more apparent, Theodore becomes insistent on defending his choices.
How were you holding the gun when it discharged? I mean, tell me.
With both hands.
I mean, do you have it raised? Do you have it?
No, it's a pistol grip, so you just have to lift it up. So open the door with one hand, and when I placed my other hand, just like that she went off. I didn't expect it.
Theodore may be trying to lessen his responsibility in Renisha's death by removing himself from the action.
Also, if you don't know what's on the other side of the door and you feel like super threatened or scared or that there's like danger on the other side, I wouldn't have opened my door at 4:30, 4
especially if I couldn't see anything.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to just open the door. What if it's more than one person? They just bomb rush in. Sure. Yeah, you got a shotgun.
But
cool.
You don't know what they might have.
You don't know, you know what I'm saying? Or how many people out here.
True.
So... True. Like, it'll be different if the person actually, like, opened the door, gained access, and came across that barrier. Then, okay, boom, whatever.
Similar
you
to what my stepbrother and them did. When they broke into...
like that. That's different.
When they broke into dude's house, dude shot.
That's totally different because they actually gained access. Yeah. You know, they
They kicked the
That's
door
a whole
in,
different
boom,
story.
the door came open, he shot, bow.
That's a different story. But this just, I don't know, it just don't sit well with me because I'm like, okay, if you was that frightened or scared or didn't know what was what, and you hearing sounds here and there, I'm not about to just open the door for whatever to happen. That just don't make sense to me.
I agree.
Saying it went off versus I pulled the trigger puts distance between him and the action and blames the gun rather than Theodore himself.
Okay, how hard were you holding the gun when it went off?
Waist, and it was on an angle. It was as far as I can remember.
Do you think that when you were holding the gun, that it was on an angle like this? Could it have been like this?
If I'm opening the door, I have it. If I open the door,
okay,
that quick. It's a pistol grip.
Here, the first cracks in Theodore's story start to show. He claims to have been holding the gun at waist height. However, when taking both Theodore's height and Renisha's height into consideration, he would have had to have been holding the gun at chest height, pointed straight out, in order to shoot Renisha in the head. This discussion about the gun placement is vital for the case. Holding the gun at his waist could mean that he was just reacting to the potential threat, and more likely it really was an accident. While holding it higher, at his chest height, it means that he could have been consciously aiming it, possibly with the intent to shoot. Based on what the detective has seen, he knows that Theodore can't be telling the truth about the way he was holding the gun. While it's entirely possible that Theodore is being deceptive in order to make the shooting seem more accidental, it's not unusual for individuals who are involved with a traumatic event to distinctly remember some parts, while other parts are fuzzy. This is one of the reasons that eyewitness reports are never as accurate as we think they should be. According to Michigan's Castle Doctrine, you're allowed to use deadly force on someone who's breaking into your home if it's necessary to prevent great bodily harm to yourself. Based on Theodore's own account of the night, by the time he grabbed his shotgun and decided he'd had enough, he wasn't in any immediate objective danger. This, alongside the fact that he opened the door up to the danger with the intention of dealing with it, could potentially negate the Castle Doctrine as a valid defense.
I don't even know. I did not look at the body. I didn't stand over it and see where the wound was. I immediately put down the weapon right there on the hallway or, the entry to the front door and looked for my phone. First called here, Dearborn Heights. We're talking boom. And boom.
As he prepares to wrap up the interview, the detective brings someone else in to help ask one final question.
Where do we take your shotgun, shell casing?
We took your Mossberg. There was a spent shell casing in the shotgun, and you had your green shotgun case. We just tucked it in that and took the gun with it. There was one shell casing, so what? There was just one in it all the time, or what?
Yes, like I was just trying to explain, I couldn't remember if there was one in it or not. I kept my shells in a separate closet, so I got a little paranoid a few weeks back, got paintballed, so I maybe that's when I loaded it, put it in. I mean, I don't think I mentioned that to you. I mean, that's what I put one in there or something like that.
So also, if you couldn't remember if it was, one already in there and you wasn't sure, you picked up the gun, went to the door, like you already knew that someone was in there, or you just loaded it before you went, and you had to have known something was in there because you opened the door ready. You know what I'm saying? Like, you was ready. So if I'm not sure, I'm going to check, I'm going to make sure, whatever, before. Because
I'm not taking an empty gun to a threat, to something I believe that might be a threat.
And open it and just let the threat, open the door. Like, that doesn't make sense. So either you had to recently just put it in there or you knew it was already in there.
I did not realize there was one in there, no.
Following Theodore's interview, the police spent quite some time digging through every aspect of the case, to make sure there was no crucial detail left out. During this investigation, they found out some intriguing details regarding the hours leading up to Renisha's death. According to police records, a 911 call was placed just before 1 a.m. to report a no-injury accident where a woman who was driving under the influence had been speeding down the street and struck a parked car. Although the woman driving had clearly been disoriented and possibly confused when she got out of the car, she had left on foot and wandered away from the scene of the crime.
At 1?
That was at 1 a.m. Mm-hmm.
Police didn't arrive on scene until they received a call stating that the driver had come back to the scene. Unfortunately, by the time cops and EMS responded, she was already gone again. This driver was Renisha McBride, and had anyone been able to stop her from wandering off in her delirious and drunken state, she may never have ended up on Theodore Wafer's front porch. On the flip side, some say Renisha would have never ended up on Theodore's porch if she hadn't been drinking and driving either. You'll notice that was a 3-hour difference between the time that the 911 call was placed about the car accident around 1 a.m. and Theodore's call to 911 at 4:30. To this day, it's unclear where Renisha was during this period of time, but her family believes she was disoriented from her head injury and seeking help. Theodore eventually received charges for murder in the second degree and manslaughter, as well as a felony firearm charge. While Theodore may have claimed that his gun accidentally misfired during his initial interview, this claim actually changed by the time he got to court. Instead, he and his lawyer were insisting that Theodore intentionally fired out of self-defense because he was scared that Renisha was trying to break in. Despite Michigan's Castle Doctrine, the judge ultimately ruled that nothing Renisha did was intense enough to justify Theodore being legitimately scared for his life. In the end, Theodore was found guilty on all charges on September 3, 2014, and received 15 to 30 years for his second-degree murder charge, 7 to 15 years for the manslaughter charge, and finally, a 2-year sentence for the felony firearm charge, with all of these sentences served concurrently. While Michigan may not have the death penalty, Theodore's lawyer argued that the judge had basically given the then 55-year-old man a death sentence, as he's likely to spend the rest of his life paying for his actions. Just when it seemed that Theodore's case was officially put to rest, he made an appeal in 2015 to overturn his conviction. To the surprise of many, the Michigan Supreme Court heard Theodore's case and actually vacated his manslaughter conviction. In Michigan, the second-degree murder statute requires that the defendant acted with malice, whereas the manslaughter charge implies that the defendant didn't. Seeing the contradiction in these convictions, the court determined that having both convictions was a violation of Theodore's rights. With one of his convictions vacated, there was a slight chance that Theodore could come out of this with a shorter sentence. However, at his resentencing on June 22, 2022, the judge stated there were strong reasons for Theodore's original sentencing and gave him 15 to 30 years for second-degree murder. While he may no longer have the manslaughter conviction, ultimately Theodore will serve the same amount of time behind bars.
Dang.
Basically, wow. So basically, they just said, yeah, we was wrong on give you both, but we still gonna give you that second-degree murder. Damn. And the main reason why, she was no threat.
Yeah. And you opened your door. Like, it's not like she broke in your house or was trying to, beat your door down. Like, kick your door in.
Yeah. Because there were several opportunities you could have did. Several things you could have did differently. You could have called 911, said, hey, someone's here knocking on my door. I believe I have an intruder. Could have waited for them to come. Or you didn't have to respond at all. She's knocking, banging at the door. But you said, I kept looking around. I hear banging here, banging here, banging here. But you literally open the door and she's standing right there in your face and you shot.
And you
so
see
obviously
her.
She was only knocking on the front door.
You're right.
Obviously. Damn,
And you see her. You see that it's a woman. You see that she's by herself. And you still chose to just...
Well, I give him benefit of the doubt with that. You see she's by herself, because I have seen situations where people have send the female.
Yeah, true. too.
knock on the door.
Granted.
You open the door, you see her by herself, and then you have these guys pop out of nowhere.
Granted, I've seen that too.
Yeah.
But my whole thing is,
but that never happened in this situation.
It didn't happen. There wasn't.
You didn't even give an
situation.
opportunity to recognize if something was a threat or not.
And I'm just a firm believer. Don't open your door for anyone.
True.
I say this all the time. I don't open my door for anyone.
True.
Like, I don't respond. I don't say nothing. Nothing. I don't open my door. Because I just don't. I don't trust people. You just never know what type of time people on. What?
You didn't. Hey, who is it? You ain't say. You ain't stepping. You just immediately went to the door, opened the door, and shot.
Yeah.
That's. I guess in the eyes of the law, that's blatant murder.
Yeah. Damn. Rest in peace, Renisha. Yeah. Renisha. Rest in peace to Renisha.
Hey, man, y'all spam us up. Y'all let us know y'all thoughts about this one in the comments down below for us. But until next time, y'all know how it go, man. I do go by the name DJ New Kid. This is
Sierra Nicole.
We are.
Kid and C.
We are.
No time to kick it, got a stack of flip for my foes. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar. Let me watch out for my partners. Keep my money low, get my team strong. Let me run away from my problems.